And welcome to the Prestin and Sexton podcast. We're back, folks, and it may not seem like a long time for you guys, but we haven't recorded since probably December something in the teens.
December 18th.
Oh my goodness, and it's what, January 15th, I'd have to say?
13th.
Jesus.
It's been almost a month.
Yeah, we were on an all-star break. All the all-star podcasters were invited to the game, and we were not, unfortunately.
We were not invited, but hey, just because you're an all-star doesn't mean you get the break.
That's true. That's very true. Well, today we're going to be discussing our top 10 animated movies, and what is the limit on these studios.
You see, we're limiting it to 2 movies per studio, because let's be honest, you could pretty much almost make a list with the same 3 studios on it, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to make it to where, like, yeah, we're going to limit to 2 per studio, so it's just not like a Pixar, Disney, and DreamWorks list.
Yeah, I agree with that, because you could almost rank Disney movies top 10, and they would still be quality movies.
Yeah, like you could just put 10 Pixar movies and like
same deal.
People would disagree with you, but like it's kind of hard to.
I agree. So I think I'm going to start off with my honorable mentions of animated movies. I had the Isle of Dogs. That's a big one for me. Spongebob movie.
One of my honorable mentions.
I almost put that one on there. And then...
Fun fact about the SpongeBob movie. Did you know Scarlett Johansson
Yes,
is in it?
I did know that. I did know that, because I remember watching it, and... what the hell's her name in that one? Do you remember it all?
I don't know. All I know is she's the female mermaid.
She's the daughter of Neptune. And I remember hearing it, I'm like, I know that voice.
I was about to say...
I couldn't think of it.
Because I rewatched it like a month and a half ago, and I'm like, whose voice is that? Like, I know that voice. And I went to the IMDb page, was looking, I'm like, Scarlett Johansson, what?
What is she doing in this movie? Yeah.
Yeah, she was like 16 when she did it, or something like that.
Pretty young, huh? Well, that kind of rounds out my honorable mentions.
I was about to say my 2 honorable mentions, the SpongeBob movie. And then I got Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Okay, yeah, I do like that movie.
It's like, I like it, just not in my top 10.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I could see where it could make someone's top 10, but not mine, not yours.
For me, it didn't make it, because it's not as memorable as these ones are.
Agreed. I agree with that. It's a fair take.
Because, I mean, my top 9 are pretty basic, but then I just put a 10 in there that probably not many people have seen.
Well, now I'm curious.
So you just want me to start right away then?
Sure, let's do it.
Well, number 10, I got Scooby Doo Pirates Ahoy. For those of you who don't know, like, in the early 2000s to, like, later 2000s, Warner Bros. Did this thing where they just put out straight-to-DVD Scooby Doo movies.
They were good.
And, I mean, they were kind of like copy and paste type things, pretty much. They're kind of the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
Like Scooby Doo was. But I just grew up with this movie, and for me, it's like the one Scooby Doo straight to DVD movie that always seems to stand out for me. Like, I always liked the music. It's like, yo, Pirates in the Bermuda Triangle. Who's not down to watch that?
That's funny, because we talked a little bit about the cyber one, and that's kind of mine. Like, I remember watching the Cyber Chase one. I swear it's called Cyber Chase.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Very certain. But I remember watching that one quite a bit throughout my childhood. It was on VHS. I had a lot of like animated VHS movies.
And I think you're about to tell that like most of these movies on our list were movies that came out during our childhood.
For the most part, yeah. And a couple of mine just came out recently, but I'm going through something, Preston. I'm watching these animated movies, just gobbling them up. The Mind Goblin.
Never heard of it. I can't say I've ever heard of it. Who made it?
Mind Goblin? Mind Goblin, these nuts.
What?
Gotcha.
Just say your freaking movie. And sorry to everyone out there, me and Gabe's voices are in terrible shape.
We are we are on like the IR in terms of vocal power.
We're on a pitch count.
Sickly. I am sickly. I have the plague. I'm not long for this world.
So you know what? We're spending our last few days on Earth recording this for you.
For your pleasure, for your listening pleasure. So, number 10, Barnyard from Nickelodeon. I know, right? Shocking. Ask anyone between the ages of 20, like, let's just say about 18 to about 23. Did this movie exist? They'd be like, maybe, I don't know. It's a fever dream when you watch it.
It's just kind of one of those movies that's so bad, it's kind of decent.
Exactly. They're like, show it, it's right here, it's right, show it.
The one thing I actually remember from the movie is this rat singing, "They call me Mr. Boombastic,
Biggie Cheese.
Stick." It's like, that's the only thing I remember from that movie.
There was a kid, and he's like, "That's called cow tipping." Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, I do remember that one.
Yeah, that was a pretty good impression, I think. Yeah, Barnyard, pretty great movie to watch at about 1 in the morning. You're like, oh, I don't want to go to bed, but I want to watch something crazy and manic. Barnyard. Selling right there.
I want to watch a movie, but I don't want to have to think about it.
You're like, streamline this McDonald's-like content into my mind. And Barnyard just does that for me.
Okay, so my number 9 is actually a Studio Ghibli film, Spirited Away. You know, it's kind of like it's a cult following it has a cult following in the United States, but not in Japan. Like, Studio Ghibli, for those of you who don't know, is like the Pixar of Japan.
They're pretty good.
Like, they're like the guy in charge of it. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name, but probably like the best animator or like
visionary
and like animation director of all time. Right, I don't even really think that's a hot take.
No, that's a lukewarm.
And I mean, I've only seen Spirited Away, I think, twice, but it was a film that was introduced to me in a film class.
We watched it together, I think, for the first time.
Oh yeah, you were in that class, weren't you?
Yep.
And it's like, it was just a film that's like, I'm not gonna watch it a lot, but it's like one of those movies that's like, it's so good that I only almost want to see it one time.
That's true. There are a couple movies like that. Like, obviously for me, I can only watch like Logan so many times. But I remember watching that. I watched it as a kid, but I didn't fully comprehend whatever was going on, and even as a grown-ass man.
Yeah, because it's kind of supposed to be like greed, right? If I remember correctly.
And pollution.
It's kind of just supposed to tackle all the issues that's going through the world.
Yeah, because I remember the guy, like the spirit dragon or whatever, the water spirit he was named after a river. And so he was all dirty and polluted. But it really was.
I remember the guy with the white mask. He was supposed to be like greed, right?
I can't remember what his name was even, but I know who you're thinking of. Because then he eats everything and consumes. Yeah.
So what's your number 9, Gabe?
I had Despicable Me slash Minions. I remember thinking as a kid, I'm like, this movie sucks and I'm not gonna like it. Or watching it, I'm like, I like this movie. I like Gru. And Jason Segel's Vector is actually pretty funny.
Wait, he's Vector?
Yeah. Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, now you know. I like
Vector!
That movie. Just a teeny tiny little toilet. Gah! Yeah, I like that movie. I went back and watched it about a year ago. I'm like, okay, I still like this at 19 or 20 or whatever I was.
So, you know, I liked the movie, but it didn't make my top 10 for one reason.
Why?
It gave us the song Happy.
You
And
don't like
I
that
can't,
song,
I have to
Happy?
tell you, it was a song I liked when it first came out, but when I heard it for the
that thing.
1 billionth time, I hated it.
Dude, they beat that thing like a dead horse. They beat it. Oh, it was so bad.
They beat it like a dead horse, resurrected the horse, and then beat it to death again.
Stop! It's already dead. Stop!
And then it was like Doctor Strange took the time stone and reversed time, and then just did it again.
They're like, remember when this song was really cool like 3 months ago? They're like, still gonna keep playing it.
2 years later, still playing it.
You're like, might seem crazy when I'm about to say, no, I can't take it anymore.
It's like that song at first made you happy, and then by the billionth time you listened to it, it made you wanna
kill. You're like, this is my Catcher in the Rye. You're like, this is my J.D. Salinger. You're like, I'm inspired by this to kill. It's a big one. Let's see.
I suppose it's me next, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it.
So, number 8, I got Mulan.
Okay.
I mean, I love Mulan.
Strong female. Ming-Na Wen kicks ass.
I love Ming-Na Wen. Like, she's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Mulan, you got frickin' Book of Boba Fett. Like,
Fennec Shan, yeah.
Like, she's the ultimate, like, nerd.
True.
Nerd actress. Like, she's in everything.
Yeah, she's really good in that movie, and she was probably pretty young at the time. I mean,
I was about to say, she probably gotta be about her mid-20s is what I'd have to guess.
Fairly young, yeah. And Mulan, there's not a ton of music in it, but the music
which
that
I
is
like.
Good. Right, it feels appropriate though.
Yeah, it's not not where they blow music out of proportion. It's like no, to tell a good animated movie, you have some music in it, but ultimately you don't let the music be the main thing.
Unless you want it to be.
Unless it's a musical.
Yeah, like I don't know if you watched Encanto at all. But that was a musical. It's supposed to be a musical. That's why I'm like, okay, this makes sense that it's a little more theatrical with its music. Whereas Mulan is a little more, like, I think there's only 4 songs in that movie.
I'd have to say yes, and I mean like Eddie Murphy or no.
I was pissed they didn't bring back Eddie Murphy.
What the frick, Disney?
What the freak, Disney?
He was like one of the best parts about the movie. We're like, we're not gonna have him. Screw him.
WTF, man. Disney, don't you want to make money?
And I mean, like, the cast, pretty star-studded for, like, the 90s. You had Pat Morita as, like, the Emperor. For those of you who don't know who Pat Morita is, wax on, wax off.
That's true.
Like, he was Mr. Miyagi.
I always think of the, do you remember the quote he had when he was talking to the Khan? Whatever his name was in the movie, the villain, and he's like, no matter how much the wind howls, the mountain must never bow. Like, oh, badass quote.
Like, I haven't seen Mulan in a while, so it's kind of like I don't quite remember everything.
Write it down. We gotta watch it.
It's like I haven't seen it enough to where like it's imprinted in my mind forever.
Fair enough. I've seen it quite a bit. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid, so I watched it a lot. I'm just gonna get into my number 8 because you already said it, but I had Spirited Away as well. Would be higher. Anime's not my thing, but I'm willing to look past anime to look at this film. Like, you can watch this movie objectively and say this is a great movie.
It's kind of like the wagon wheel for country haters.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like I don't like country myself, and everyone I know who dislikes country likes Wagon Wheel by Darius.
Right. I like that is an apt comparison. You're like the Wagon Wheel and Spirited Away. You're like, these are 2 of the same things.
It's like if you don't like anime, you'll like Spirited Away. Because if you don't, you're just...
You wrong for that.
Yeah.
You're wrong for that.
Because if you don't like it, your opinion's wrong.
Right. So I'm like, well, opinions can't be wrong. I'm like, well, that one is. That one actually is wrong.
No, opinions can be wrong.
That's a matter of opinion.
At Kirk stands.
Oh my goodness. We were really... Kirk is a lot like...
Okay.
Wagon Wheel. He's a lot like Mulan.
Don't even make that
He's
comparison.
a lot like... Barnyard. Did this man exist? Maybe. Maybe.
Okay, we're getting a little off topic, so let's head back in.
Yes.
So my number 7 is Ice Age.
Okay.
Like, the definition of a animated movie from my childhood right here.
True.
Like, you got Scrat. Everyone likes Scrat.
Hard not to like Scrat.
You got Manny, the mammoth. Like, he's kind of like the little... He's like the hard ass. He's also heartwarming. He's Clint Eastwood.
Which is funny you say that because Ray Romano voices him, and I'm like, it's so fitting.
And then you got, like,
Diego.
Sid. You got Sid,
Oh,
who is... I always forget the guy's name.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Like, it's great. And then you got, what's his name as Diego?
Oh, Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary.
Dennis
like,
Leary, yeah.
Love Dennis Leary.
Yeah, great.
It's like, it's a great cast. It's like you kind of notice that like every animated movie in the 2000s had like an all-star cast. And I wouldn't say Ice Age was like an all-star cast. It was probably a bunch of B+ listers.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would agree with that. But it's a pretty big cast. I don't know who's in it now, but I know there's pretty famous
You had
people.
Josh Peck.
True.
He was one of those possums in 2.
I remember what their names were. I want to say Pip and Pop.
I think it was Crash. I think one of them was Crash.
Crash. See, I was thinking of Pip and Pop from Bear in the Big Blue House.
I don't remember the other one though. I know one's Crash.
I haven't watched Ice Age in a very long time.
See, I just rewatched it over break because my brother was watching it. And it's like, I walk by, the movie just started, and it's like, well, it's Ice Age. I can't not watch it.
You're like, shit. Well,
what was I gonna go do? Who cares? Ice Age is on.
You're like, sorry, I'm sick, but like watching Ice Age.
So how about you? What's your number 7?
So I just came from work and I was talking about it, and my friend Brandon Morrissey, shout out. He probably doesn't listen, but I hope he does. But he's like, "Oh, what's it?" Because I needed one more Disney movie. Because like, you can't have an animated list without at least 2 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "You like Moana?" I'm like, "God, I love Moana." I'm like, "Shit, I didn't think of that." I do like Moana. I like the art. I like the singing. I like the fact that the culture is well included as well. Just a great movie to watch.
Plus, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Because he's singing.
So what can I say except you're welcome?
Then you had that big-ass thing, I can't even tell you what it is, singing that Shiny song. Like, that one's kind of catchy.
Tamatoa. I've seen Moana a lot. It came out in 2017. I'm 20, going on 21. Shout out Gabriel. Shout out me. I've seen that movie probably about 5-6 times.
I was about to say, I might have seen it 2 or 3 times.
Somehow you just put it on. Like, if you're... Let's say it's 10 o'clock. Let me brighten your day, Preston. Let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, which it's probably pretty close to at the moment.
It's 9:58.
Damn right it is. You're like, God, I'm not tired, but I will be in about 2 hours. What movie are you watching?
And you kind of just pull up Disney Plus, you're looking through movies, and you're like, when you're staring at a demigod, and you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to Moana.
Yep, I'm watching Moana. Like, I'm smoking that Moana pack.
So my number 6 is an animated movie that might make you cry. I got Up.
It'll make you cry in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's like, that's like visual storytelling at its best.
I concur with
without, like, actually... Like, they tell, like, a couple's whole entire story without mumbling a word.
That's all you can do.
And then you get so emotionally invested in it, and they're like, bam! Death. And you're like,
hey,
oh.
She's dead. You're like, no!
You're like, oh. Let me just go cry. Just pause the movie. I need to go cry my eyes out now. And it's like... It's just one of those heartwarming movies. You got a hard-ass old man, Clint Eastwood again. And you got, like, the little Cub Scout that comes along and...
True.
Opens this old man's heart. And it's like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, my grandpa's not grouchy, but he kind of looks like Mr. Fredrickson.
Yeah. Carl.
So every time I look at Mr. Fredrickson, I'm like, yo, that kind of looks like my grandpa.
You're like, grandpa? Are you my grandfer?
It's like, this is another movie we watched over Christmas break. We watched it at my house during Christmas because we had all the fam bam over.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just turn it on up, because everyone likes Up. And if you don't, your opinion's wrong.
You're wrong. You're literally wrong if you don't like it. I agree.
If you don't like it, you have shit taste.
True that.
It's like, even if it's not your top 10 animated movie, you can't dislike it.
It's not on mine, but that's because it's like number 3 in my Pixar rankings.
It's like, because we only allow two. It's not on there because we only allow 2 Pixar movies.
Right. And the 2 I picked are, like, hands down, like, some of my favorite movies ever.
Okay. What's your number 6?
Speaking of Pixar, I have The Incredibles. I really like the fact that they tell a midlife crisis story in a superhero movie, which is not a story we've ever had before, even now in the golden age of superhero movies. I think that's fantastic. I love that part of it.
Yeah, when you look at it, it kind of has a different message from other Pixar movies. It's like, it kind of says, it's like, you know what? Not everyone's special. Like, as weird as that sounds for, like, Pixar to do, they're like, no, not everyone is special, because when everyone's special, no one's special.
And everyone, I guess, has, like, normal problems. Even if you are considered special. It's an animated movie for kids, very adult message.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it has just some iconic lines. Honey, where's my super suit?
I put it in the dryer. What? Where's my super suit?
The city is in danger. My evening's in danger. It's like, oh, good lord. I love that movie.
I do love that movie. I especially like the syndrome, because when everyone's super, no one is. Iconic line. Hard not to like The Incredibles.
Plus, it's one of those, like, animated movies of the 2000s where they didn't really have an all-star cast.
No.
Like, you had Samuel L. Jackson. And then, like, a bunch of, like, B-list celebrities.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the voices are very
Oh, they're
fitting.
so good.
I'm glad they went with that over star power. One thing about The Incredibles I really like, the music in that is pretty badass.
So good.
Especially the opening title.
Okay, I kind of want to talk about my favorite scene in that movie, but I want to hear yours first.
Favorite scene in that movie is probably when he gets the RV and he's like sad and he's telling his wife, he's like, I don't know if I have the strength to do this. And it's honestly sad. It gets me going a little bit right now, but that's just tough. Like, that's how aging works. You're not the same person you used to be.
I was about to say, mine's not quite as, like, that sentiment. My favorite scene is when he gets into, like, you know, that secret room, he puts in Chronos.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's, like, going through all the superheroes that have died, and it's, like, his realization is, like, oh, shit. Like,
we are the last.
All my colleagues are dead. Except Frozone.
He's like, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge.
It's like, I don't know why, that just kind of gives you, like, that, like, the creeps, almost.
The heebie-jeebies?
It's just like watching this, like, every superhero just dead.
True.
It's like, I kind of want, like, a Incredibles TV show, like, set back in the, like, the golden age of superheroes, like, when it was, like, still not illegal, to where they kind of, like, just do a deep, like, dives into each different superhero of that time.
That
It's
would
like,
be good.
you can't say that wouldn't be good. It's like, the main characters are, like, still, like, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl. But then you also, it's like them teaming up with different superheroes through, like, that time. You got, like, Gazer Beam and shit.
That was so cool.
Like, Disney Plus. Perfect show for you.
If that comes up on Disney Plus, I know they're listening. Like, somewhere out there, they're listening.
The mouse is always listening.
He's like, he's bugged the dorm. So let's see. It would be
My top 5. My fifth one now, right?
Fifth, yep.
Well, I got Shrek too.
Okay.
Like, in my opinion, like, one of the, like, a perfect sequel.
Rare. That's very rare in animated movies to have.
Yeah. It's like they managed to, like, get everything they did right in 2 or in 1, and then, like, did like perfect world building.
Can you do it again, but also tell a different story and build on the last one?
Yeah, like it's a perfect example of that. It's
I
like,
agree.
oh, you kind of had like the down to earth, like, oh, he goes to the castle, goes back to the swamp. You got like the midget dude, Lord Farquaad, and now you go like, oh, you go to far, far away. How far is far, far away? Far, far away. You know, it's funny. You got freaking Eddie Murphy again as Donkey. He's great.
Yeah.
You got freaking Michael Myers as Shrek. Great. Cameron Diaz. Oh, what's his name as Puss in Boots? They introduced Antonio Banderas.
That reminds me of
They like introduced new memorable characters. You got like the fairy godmother, one of my favorite animated villains of all time.
True.
And then you had like the king, the queen. I don't know if the ugly stepsister was a new character.
Oh yeah, it's voiced by Larry King. Yeah. What can I get you for?
And it's like I just love the movie. Like great music.
Yeah.
It's like the
soundtrack.
Animated Guardians of the Galaxy.
I agree. This is a movie I watched a lot as a kid.
Every song in that movie is a banger.
Agreed.
And even like the one that was made for the movie was good. Which was the Fairy Godmother song.
Yeah, there's no part of that movie that is bad. It doesn't make I'm not the biggest Shrek fan, but I appreciate Shrek.
For me, it's like the pinnacle of like an animated movie. I could just sit down and watch as many times and not get sick of it.
That's fair. That's fair. It's hard not to like.
Plus, it builds Shrek's character even better now. It's like it kind of has the message like, oh, if you two people truly love each other, they don't have to change.
Love is blind.
Like, love is blind, and if two people are in love, who cares what everyone else thinks of them?
I care. I care what everyone thinks about me.
And it's like that's what Shrek did. Like Shrek 2 did perfectly. Like, you know, like Shrek is still a little like he cares too much of what people think of him, even though he says he doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's like Fiona's like, you know what? I still love you. I don't care. And it's just kind of like I don't care what anyone else thinks. And then like Shrek still doesn't quite get that right away. So, you know, he goes, takes the potion, becomes like what he thinks everyone else would like. And it's like Fiona's just kind of like, no. Like, yeah, everyone else might like us, but I like you the way you are.
That's fair.
Thing. I don't know. I just love the message.
It's hard not to like that movie. Very watchable too.
Like no slow parts whatsoever.
No, the movie clips along pretty good. It's very memeable as well. Covered in memes, covered in it.
But in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
Not like episode 1 and 2 of Star Wars.
Or Spider-Man 3. I watched that movie and like meme. Like if you took a shot every time a meme came up in that movie, you'd be blackout drunk by the end.
Bruh, if you did that, you'd probably be blackout drunk after the first 15 minutes.
Oh, it's hilarious. Like, gonna put some dirt in your eye. I'm like, who says that? Okay, anywho. I'm on to my top 5. Number 5, the Lego Batman. I watched this movie for the first time, I think I watched it yesterday, actually. Didn't think too much of it when I went in. I really liked it. Thought it was funny. I liked they took Batman and kind of overplayed him to be Batman.
He kind of had like the Adam West charm almost.
Kind of, yeah, where he didn't really take himself too seriously, but he does in like a joking way.
It's like the anti DCEU. Like, you know, where everything's so dark.
True, very
and depressing.
And
it's like the Lego movie's the complete opposite.
Yeah. Like they're like, oh, this is MacGuffin Airline 1138. I was like, oh, that's funny.
It's like, it really reminded me of like the OG Batman with Adam West, you know, where it's like, doesn't take itself seriously, you know, he has a gadget for everything that he just pulls out of his ass.
Yeah. Will Arnett as Batman too just
Great.
makes sense. It just makes sense. Zach Galifianakis is the Joker.
Wait, Zach Galifianakis is the Joker?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I did not.
No, well, you just learned something new. Yeah, he's pretty great in that movie, though. The voice actors in that movie just pretty damn good.
So my number 4, I got Aladdin.
Aladdin.
My opinion, the best Disney animation studios movie. Like, you got Robin Williams. What else do you need?
Fair.
Like, the music is, like, perfect.
I agree. I just went back and watched that, and I love it.
It's like, can your friend do this? It's like,
you ain't never, ever had a friend like me.
It's like,
love it.
I just love the movie.
I'm a big fan.
Plus, it's kind of heartwarming too. Like, it's like, oh, you could wish. It's a good friendship movie. It's like, it's the ultimate. Don't put hoes before bros.
Fun fact: my parents' first dance was to A Whole New World at their wedding.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I'm like, don't quote me on it.
Your parents are gonna be watching this like, no, it wasn't.
They're like, you dumbass. You're a goddamn dipshit kid.
Why are you spreading lies about us on the internet?
They're like, there are truth to all rumors.
Fact checkers don't cancel us if you lied.
I'm like, facts don't care about your feelings. I'm like, yeah. Well, my number 4, I have the actual goated Disney movie, The Lion King.
Cap.
I like Aladdin. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best Disney movie.
I like The Lion King. Overrated. Aladdin better.
These, you could argue these two pretty much either way, but to me, The Lion King is so vibrant, and Elton John wrote the goddamn soundtrack.
I forget about that all the time.
Pretty good.
It's like, I was just kidding when I said Cap. Like, it's a legit.
If you want to look at if you absolutely look at their peak, I'm like, you cannot say that it's.
It's like, I think
not Lion King.
In my opinion, like, Lion King's like, yeah, the biggest one. But like I said, I find it just a wee bit overrated, and I like Aladdin more.
and that's just personal opinion. I like Aladdin. I would say it's top 5 Disney movie. Lion King is top 2, and it's not 2. It's not 2 for me.
It's like, yeah, I like the Lion King. And it's like, because who doesn't like Hakuna Matata?
When I broke up with my girlfriend, I remember singing Hakuna Matata like all the time.
Savage.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it means no worries. I'm like, babe. I'm like, no worries, babe.
It's like you just got in your last argument with her, and you're like, you know what? Hakuna Matata.
She's like, what does that mean?
What a wonderful phrase.
It means no worries.
What? Hakuna Matata?
Hakuna Matata.
I can tell you, it ain't no passing grade.
It ain't no passing phrase.
And then you start dancing, just walk out of the house.
Yeah, and do like a shimmy.
And he was never seen again.
You're like, where did he go? I'm like, Hakuna Matata, man. Hakuna Matata. Well, Preston, top 3.
Oh. You already had it, but my third is The Incredibles.
Okay, yeah.
My favorite Pixar movie. Like, I already talked about it when Gabe talked about it, so I'm not going to deep dive into it too much.
Yeah.
Only one gripe I have with this movie. It's pretty much a direct ripoff of the Fantastic Four.
Kinda, yeah. Kinda.
Except instead of the Human Torch, you swap them out for
Violet.
Quicksilver.
Or, yeah, Speed's dumbass Gabriel. Like, no wonder my parents think I'm a dipshit.
It's like, you have the Thing, Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Fantastic is
Mr. Fantastic's Elastigirl. And then the Invisible Woman is Violet.
Right. Yeah. I think they're kind of deliberate in that, honestly.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, like, the Fantastic Four are called Marvel's first family. So I think that's kind of why they did it. It's like, well, family. Hey, we're making a movie about a superhero family. Let's just like, it's like when you and your buddy like share this, like when you forget do your homework and you get to class the next day. It's like okay, I'll let you copy my homework, but you have to change it a little bit so it's not too obvious.
Speedster, and it works.
Okay, instead of instead of a fire dude, we're gonna give him a speedster.
They're like, shit, you're right. They're like, no one will tell. They're like, do you think anyone knows? They're like, no.
No one's gonna notice.
No one's
well,
gonna
we
notice.
noticed.
No one's gonna notice.
But like you said, I love the the message. It's like, it's just family. Like the message is just family. That's basically what it is.
Fast and Furious family.
Except not oversaturated.
Except not Fast and Furious. Except it's not that. I'm gonna tell you what my top 3 is. I think you almost have to agree. Kung Fu Panda, number 3. I love this movie. I cannot get over the fact that the message is like, you yourself are a special human being. You are your own special ingredient.
Yeah. And honestly, it would be in my top 10, but I could only do 2 DreamWorks movies, so it didn't make my top 10.
It's unfortunate, man.
But it's definitely like my number 1 honorable mention.
I love how philosophical this movie is, even though it's like a stupid panda doing kung fu.
It's Jack Black.
It's Jack. The voice acting in this movie is unreal.
Yes.
You have Dustin Hoffman as Master Shifu, Angelina Jolie as Tigress.
I forget who's the little grasshopper.
Seth Rogen.
Yes. that's just
Mantis,
funny.
Yeah. Jackie Chan is the monkey.
And I forget who's the villain again. The guy who voices him.
Ian McShane, and you wouldn't like recognize him from too much. If you watch John Wick, he's in John Wick.
Yeah, I was about to say I wasn't saying it because he's like a huge celebrity. Like, he was great.
Yeah, what the hell was his name?
Our battle will be magnificent.
Our battle will be legendary. Oh, what was the name of the villain in that? It starts with a T, doesn't it?
Tai
Lung.
Tai Lung.
Tai Lung.
I think it was Tai something. I was going to say Tigress. No,
that
like, was
Tiger. Oh, it can't be Tiger. It can't be. He's a snow
Tigress.
leopard.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I like the movie. It would be in my top 10 if we were including if we didn't put a limit on studios.
I always think it's funny that China was like, why didn't we think of this? China's like, we love pandas and we do kung fu. Why didn't we think of this?
Yeah, they were probably like, what the frick?
What the freak? Because I remember they likened it. They're like, what if we made a character that was a bald eagle in the the West, and he was a cowboy? They're like, that is the equivalent for us. I'm like, that makes sense, actually. Like, that is an apt comparison.
Alrighty, should I hop into my... Well, I don't actually have a number 2. I have a 1A, 1B, because I couldn't choose between the two of these. My number 1B is Shrek.
Of course.
Like, the perfect animated movie. It's like, I like Shrek too. I love Shrek.
It's hard not to.
It's like, it's not because he's became a meme, but it's like, the message is great. It was really the first animated movie to knock off Pixar or Disney. And I love it how it's kind of like
monopoly.
It's like they gave the middle finger to Disney. They're like, you know what, Disney, you're like, you have a patent on like the animated musical. We're gonna do a movie where we just pull music out of pop culture and put it in the movie like perfectly. Yeah. Like, the biggest like anti-Disney thing ever in that movie was right away they're like, ooh, once upon a time in a like there was a princess who fell in love, and he's like, nope, rips the page out and wipes his ass with it.
That's funny.
It's like, that right away is the biggest middle finger to Disney right there. And then they come out and it just plays like one of the most like obnoxious songs ever. It's like, it sets the message right away. Like, this ain't no Disney movie.
Yeah, I have to agree. Shrek is.
And I like all the little
iconic
Easter eggs at Disney. You know, like they have like, what's his name, the arrow guy.
Oh, Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. They're like the little slightest thing at Disney. They're like, okay, a musical starting, and then they just get the shit kicked out of them. by a princess. It's just great. I love it. It's just a big fu to Disney, and I'm all for it.
All for it. You gotta be. Shrek is iconic. Shrek the musical, mildly iconic.
Is like everything Shrek is not supposed to be.
They're like, let's take it from what it wasn't supposed to be and make it into something. You're like, well, doesn't that defeat the purpose? They're like, no.
It's like
not really,
Shrek
no.
was great because it was a big middle finger to Disney, because they basically did the same thing over and over again. There's a princess. There's a musical number. There's multiple musical numbers, and then that's the movie. All happily ever after. No, they're like, ooh, the king and the lord and the princess are about to get married and eaten by a dragon.
That's funny. Yeah, I agree.
And the humor is perfect. They don't overdo the humor like DreamWorks has tended to do as of late.
True.
They were really the first to introduce the all-star cast.
compare Shrek to Boss Baby.
I haven't seen Boss Baby. I don't plan on it.
I don't either. Really don't either.
But it's the cast: Eddie Murphy, Michael Myers. You got Cameron Diaz.
There's no one that's out of place. That's for sure.
That's the A-list celebrities from the 90s and 2000s.
It's pretty good. There's really kind of impossible not to like Shrek, in my opinion. I think it's a little overrated because people are like, this is the greatest film ever.
Watch your mouth.
It's just a touch. It's the people that hold it in the same regard.
It's not one of the best films of all time, but it's one of the best animated films of all time.
Yeah, that I can say is true. That I will say is true.
It literally shaped animation after that.
Well, I'm gonna say a film because I don't know how much time we have left here.
All the time in the world.
Well, I'm gonna say my 1B, but it'd be number 2 to me. Ratatouille. I love Ratatouille. It made me want to eat the dish at the end. That he cooks.
See, now it did the opposite for me.
Go.
I'm scared of mice and rats.
Yeah.
Rats especially. So whenever they were I don't care. They're still gross.
Dude, if Remy cooked you a 5-star meal, you're telling me
I wouldn't eat it.
That's such shit, and you know it.
No, I don't think you know how scared of rats I am.
That's awful.
I'm deathly afraid of rats.
That's so bad for you.
I got I watched it for the first time over break, and I got the heebie-jeebies when all the rats were in the kitchen and they walked in. I'm like, oh, that's literally my nightmare.
You're like, wow, this is terrible. I hate this.
It's it was a good movie. Patton Oswalt is great in it, but
yeah.
it's they're like, ooh, a rat made it. Who cares? It's I would care.
They're like, but he's a good rat. You're like, doesn't matter.
He's still dirty.
You are a speciesist. You're a speciesist.
You literally caused a plague that killed
yeah, but now he cooks.
2/3 of Europe.
He cooks. Remy cooks.
I don't care.
He in the kitchen.
I don't care how good the food is.
He in the kitchen.
I'm not eating food prepared by a beast that caused half of the human population to die.
Throwback to when Preston called a rat a beast. It's like, you foul creature.
What, have you not seen some of the rats in New York?
I've never been to New York.
Well, you haven't been on TikTok?
I remember.
I literally came across one that's if that thing charged at me, I would literally die.
Dude, they're something different.
This thing was the size of a chihuahua. It was bigger than a chihuahua. It was a rat. You can't say that's not a beast.
That's get a leash for that thing, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
If that thing gets into your apartment, you have to charge it rent.
Game over.
You know what, pal? You're paying rent.
You're like, dude, you're eating half my food.
That's what if it ended up getting into your house, you just burn the house down.
Oh, I don't mind rats. I don't mind them.
You'd have to shoot that thing with a shotgun to kill it.
It'd probably get up like the Terminator, go. And they will run
fool.
at you.
This is even my final form.
You fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts.
So it's I liked Ratatouille, but it just grossed me out.
You can't look past a damn rat, huh?
No.
What if I got a pet rat? I'm like, look, I named it Preston Jr.
Bro, if you brought a pet rat into my room, you are literally never coming back
Podcast
here.
is done. Your podcast over. We're never doing it.
You crossed the line, pal.
Fair enough.
There's a line and you crossed it.
Wow.
Like, bro, aren't you scared of spiders?
I am deathly afraid of snakes. Can't stand
snakes? Ooh, why are you afraid of snakes?
Stupid, I hate them.
If a snake made a 5-course meal, you wouldn't eat it?
I'd think twice. I probably would eat it.
Nah, I wouldn't.
I'd think twice.
I wouldn't be able to get the picture of just the rat making it. I'm like, ugh.
That is beta sauce.
Bubonic plague. Ugh.
That's the extra ingredient, man. WTF, Preston. Just eat the plague.
No.
Suck it up.
So I can't get past it.
Grow some balls and eat it, for God's sakes.
Wouldn't eat it. Don't care.
Final answer, not gonna eat it.
Yeah, as you can tell, I like food. Not even I would eat that.
Wow. All right.
Okay, so should I hop into my 1A?
Smoking on number 1.
I got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
So good. Hard not to like it.
It was my favorite Spider-Man movie when it came out. It's now my second. But Into the Spider-Verse is great. They're like, ooh, you like Spider-Man, right? How about 2 of them? Oh wait, psych, there's 8.
You're like, this is pretty cool.
I like how they dive in all the different comics. Like they got Peter Porker, they got Spider Noir played by Nick Cage.
Great
it's
job.
Like perfect.
Voice acting in that is outstanding.
Into the Spider-Verse 2, or Cross Spider-Verse, whatever they're calling it, looks just as good. Like the voice acting is great. They captured all the different Peter Parkers perfectly. I mean, they even had an anime Penny Parker that was done pretty well. It's like, I just love it.
I love that all the styles are their own separate thing.
I like how half the cast is now in the MCU.
True. This is true. Because Gwen was Haley Steinfeld.
Then you got Doc Ock with Catherine Hahn.
True.
Miles's dad was the gay guy in Eternals.
Yeah, yep, you're right.
Who else was in
Festus.
it?
That was his name was
Festus.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember his name. Who else was in it?
Well, you had Chris Pine was the Spider-Man that died.
Yeah, he's not in the MCU. I'm trying to think of who else was in that movie that's now in the MCU.
I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
My favorite character, and that's Spider Noir.
Yeah, I hope Nicolas Cage gets his own separate movie for that.
A Spider Noir movie, I would watch that.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat. Wouldn't even think twice.
Is he in black and white? I love this scene where he's with the Rubik's Cube. He's like, I can't figure it out. What's the point?
It's so funny.
And it's like, they were able to bring in the sillier versions of Spider-Man, and it worked. Who would have thought that Peter Porker would have fit in this movie?
John Mulaney's Peter Porker just works. If you do it right and you don't mess it up, it just works.
I just loved it. And then Kingpin, love Kingpin. Kingpin was done perfectly. You got Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock, a female Doc Ock was good. All the villains were good.
The Prowler. I agree. There's no one in that movie that doesn't give it their best performance.
It's not, and there's not a bad scene.
No.
And I have to say though, my favorite scene in it's when he's reading the comic of Peter Parker becoming Peter Parker, and he's just basically doing the same thing.
True.
He's like, oh, quit sticking. Don't stop sticking. Is he standing on this? Oh, I just like it. I just love that movie.
I know, you love Spider-Man, man. You gotta love it. Well, should I get into my number 1 here?
Yeah.
We have the Mitchells versus the Machines from Sony. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't.
Boo you. Boo you.
Boo you, whore.
Boo you. Preston, you stupid slut.
Yo, don't say that.
That was too far. That was too far.
Now we have to put the explicit label on this. Thanks,
you said whore. You said whore.
Yeah, which is fine.
Really?
But you use the extreme term.
Do you think slut is worse than horror?
Yes.
What?
Yes, it's...
No, horror is worse than slut.
You said it twice. You said it 3 times. Quit saying it.
It's already getting the label, so...
You know what? Actually, the word was in a Disney movie, so who cares? It was in Mean Girls, right? No, Boo You Horror was in Mean Girls. If it's Disney approved, it's not. It's PG-13. The word you just said is rated R.
WTF, man. You're killing me.
Gotta put the explicit label now on this.
Yep. It's all my fault. I ruined this episode. But
That's twice now.
Mitchell vs. Machines. If you like Spideyverse, you would like this movie. Because Sony gives it their all. Their art style is very deliberate, and it adds like another just overall element to it. And it's actually very funny. I find this movie very funny. There's very touching moments. This is a movie that I have only seen one time, and it's good enough to be number one, without a doubt.
I was about to say, I'm gonna be honest, I've never even heard of it.
It's on Netflix.
Okay, I might have to give it a watch then.
Highly recommend.
All right, we also decided last minute, hey, let's just say our 3 favorite animated TV shows from when we were kids.
Say them all together.
I'm gonna just go right away and say my number 1 is SpongeBob.
Okay.
It makes sense. Iconic.
Hard not to.
Like so many iconic lines, characters.
Kids, like you could. I never watched it until I was 16.
It's like it's like one of those cartoons I could go back and watch the first seasons and like still be amused and laughing at it.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's like it kind of also does a great job at sneaking adult humor in there. True. Like stuff that completely flew over my head as a kid. Like when SpongeBob reaches into the tub, takes out 2 things of soap and goes, "Here you go, Gary. Don't drop them." Something that completely went over 8-year-old Preston's head. And now looking at 20-year-old Preston, he's like, how did I miss that?
Fair. Or like when he's watching like the LG on TV and Gary walks in, he's like, "Gary, you gotta knock."
See, I was just on the sports channel.
It's like, oh my god, SpongeBob was watching porn. PG shit. He was watching porn.
I was about to say though, nothing beats the episode with the Tattletale Strangler.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Dirty
with
Bubble.
These spiky cleeks, we'll for sure get in. Oh, what?
That one.
I love that episode.
I do too. I like that. What's number 2?
My number 2 is What's New, Scooby Doo.
Okay. What's New, Scooby Doo?
Like Simple Plan. Like when Simple Plan sings your theme song, you know it's gonna be a banger.
Agreed.
It's like they were Phineas. They did the. I'm not even gonna say it. It's like because Phineas and Ferb kind of did the same thing with the theme song. They're like, we're gonna give bowling for soup.
True.
But What's New, Scooby Doo? Love Scooby Doo. Grew up watching Scooby Doo, and it's just like a nostalgia trip.
Agreed. Yeah. I think that's a fair take. I watched it quite a bit when I was a kid. Got me into Scooby Doo, and like you could watch Scooby Doo all the time. Scooby Doo was big when we were kids.
Yeah, and just think we didn't even get like the peak of Scooby Doo.
No, I wouldn't say so.
It's one of those. It's like one of those remakes of like TV shows that actually was good.
I watched that quite a bit, and I have to agree. It's really good.
Always had good music.
Soundtrack was great. Soundtrack was outstanding.
All right, my number 3, I got Batman the animated series. That's like, it's the pinnacle of superhero animated TV shows.
Say what you will about DC, but they always have outstanding animated like cartoons with their heroes.
It's like, in my opinion, from the best Batman ever.
That's a hot take.
I don't think it really is.
Is it better than the Lego Batman?
Yes.
He does not pay taxes, fun fact.
Plus, like, my favorite character in it, Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Oh,
like,
true.
Perfect casting.
He's crazy. He's deranged as Joker.
It's like, he's not the best Joker, but in my opinion, he's probably my second or third favorite Joker.
That's hard, because there's a lot of good Jokers out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I would debatably put him as my number 2 Joker. Like, I think he's that good in this show.
That's That's a hot take.
Is it though? I don't really think it is.
Who are you gonna put him behind?
I would put him behind Heath Ledger.
Okay, top three. You got Ledger, Hamill, and Phoenix.
I wouldn't say Phoenix.
You think he's?
I'm a fan of Nicholson.
Okay, all right.
That's my top three. Because Phoenix, not comic accurate. I've already talked about this, but
yes,
he's not the Joker.
Like he's a character that's
he's
like
a poser.
He's nothing but a poser. He's a phony, a big fat phony.
This guy's a fake.
Oh, I got it from the fake. Was it the phony store? Whatever, from SpongeBob.
From that same episode.
Yeah. Got it from the phony store. Yeah.
It's like, some people might think it's a hot take, but Hamill's the second best Joker.
That's fair.
Don't at me.
That's fair. Okay, my three, I'm just going to say them. I got The Simpsons, The Clone Wars, because I like Star Wars, and it actually...
I was about to say, my only gripe with the Clone Wars, it's like, at its high, it's amazing, but at its low, it's mid as hell.
Yeah. The first two seasons of it, I'm like, okay, this is good, but this is not consistently good.
It's like, the peak of the Clone Wars was that Pong Krell. Those Pong Krell episodes.
The Umbara
I love those episodes. I could rewatch those. I could just rewatch those. That's 6
peak
episodes.
Star Wars.
Like, that's great.
Yes. And then I have South Park. How can you not like South Park?
I'm gonna be honest.
No.
Never really watched South Park.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say I don't like it. Like,
no,
that's okay. That's worse than watching it.
I wasn't able to watch it growing up. My mother sheltered me.
What? It doesn't show.
It's like I wasn't allowed to watch South Park, so I just never. It's like didn't watch it growing up, and it's like I really have no interest in it anyway.
Fair. I just like it. I like watching South Park.
It's like the only thing I know about South Park is that Kenny dies a lot. That's the only thing I know.
Oh my God! They killed Kenny! You bastards! Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch it until I was in middle school. It was on Netflix, so you could watch every season. I watched a ton of them.
All right, so we get into our next topic. Just talk a little bit about shows you've watched in the past, let's say week and a half.
Yeah, I'll give you some recommendations. I'll give you 3. How's that? If you
Good,
give me 3.
I got 3.
Okay, match my energy here. So I have La La Land. I just watched. Really like it. It's imagine like a 1950s, 1940s like musical movie set in modern day and put into like modern day film standards at the highest level. The last scene in it is so goddamn good. It's unbelievably good. Unbelievably.
It's Ryan Gosling and who?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
They both can sing in this. Like Emma Stone not as great as Ryan Gosling, but Ryan Gosling he's pretty great.
Yeah, Emma Stone doesn't come off as a singer.
What?
She just
Crazy.
doesn't.
You on something over there?
But hey, I might have to give it a watch at some point.
Okay. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation is Whiplash.
Okay.
Like I watched it over break this winter break. It's so good, and it's like it's only an hour, only an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a shorter movie, but it's great front to back, start to finish.
Okay.
It's basically about it's a drummer who got into the music school. He is a very, very abusive band teacher trying to get the most out of him, played by J.K. Simmons. It's one of the best. It has one of the best FU moments in cinema history. It's fast paced. J.K. Simmons is maybe should have won an Oscar for it.
Really?
Miles Teller's really good in it. It's debatable that J.K. Simmons should have won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
He's great in his roles, so you gotta give it to him.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons, hella underrated.
Super, I agree. My second recommendation was a movie I watched. I watched The Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas.
I've been meaning to watch it. I know it's on Netflix.
Good. It's really fun. Just the summer blockbuster. I wouldn't say it's a terrific movie, but when you think summer blockbusters, you think of The Mask of Zorro. Anthony Hopkins also was in it too.
Really?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I've been meaning to watch The Mask of Zorro because I heard it's really good.
I wouldn't say it's like really, really good. I just think it's very watchable and is about as popcorn movie as one could get. So take that as you will.
So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about individual seasons of a TV show that just came out. I watched Cobra Kai season 4. Love Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Season 4, for me, easily the best season.
All right.
Like, I don't want to spoil it, but they bring in some characters from, like, second and third movies. They do it perfectly. It's one thing Cobra Kai has done perfect is that, in my opinion, they managed to outdo the movies. And I don't really think that's much of a hot take. And Netflix is, like, I was kind of Netflix picked it up. It's probably not going to be as good. Nah, Netflix has done a hell of a job with it. Like,
that's great.
It's kind of like, there's not much, like, substance behind it. It's just like, ooh, karate. It's like...
You're like, martial arts.
It's
cool.
like teenagers kicking the shit out of each other. What's not to like?
True, fair enough.
Then you got, like, William Zabka and Ralph Macchio just fighting. It's great, like a bromance. Like, bromance frenemy thing, and it's just great.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get into my last recommendation. I got HBO Max 1 week free. And I watched the Snyder Cut Justice League. Pretty good. For 4 hours, I'm like, okay, this is pretty damn good. That's it. That's all I got.
Very long.
4 hours. If you have 4 hours of time and you are looking for adamant entertainment, go watch the Snyder Cut of the Justice League.
And then mine is Book of Boba Fett, Season 1. Only seen 3 episodes because that's all that's out left.
Did you watch today's? Or yesterday's, I should say.
Yes.
Okay, pretty good.
I don't care what really anyone says because it's good.
Star Wars fans are always...
Oh yeah, and I wanted to talk about Star Wars fans. In my opinion, by far the most toxic fan base.
Yeah, you could put out something great and they're
Star Wars fans, well, pardon my French, find a way to bitch about everything.
Yeah.
Except the original trilogy.
They're like, sorry we can't, like, wash, rinse, repeat. Goddamn.
It's like, ooh, everything about the prequels suck. Rey's a Mary Sue. Rey's like, where's she different than Luke?
Or Anakin.
Like, Luke did what? 2 months training and was able to beat Darth Vader or whatever his training time was? Like, ooh, he beat the Chosen One.
Yeah.
I'm
with you.
It's like, who cares? It's the Force. The Force can do whatever it wants. If it wants to make her overpowered as hell, it's the Force. Don't question it. It's like, they find a way to complain about everything.
That does drive. It drives me
the
up
most
the wall.
toxic fan base ever. Like, there's an actor they don't like. Ooh, we're gonna go just bully them on social media. They did it with
Rose.
They did it with Rose Tico. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not her fault the movies were trash. It was Lucasfilm's lack of vision for a sequel. Like, how can Disney be in charge of Lucasfilms in Marvel? Baffles me. Like, you have Marvel, which is like the most thought out,
methodical
cinematic universe in like film. And then Disney bought Star Wars for billions of dollars, and we're like, you know what? We're just like not gonna come up with a plan. We're just gonna put out movies and think of stuff as we go. Like, what? Like, I can get where some people hate Disney and Star Wars, but don't bitch about everything. Like, I saw people complain about The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is peak Star Wars.
It's peak fiction. Yeah,
It's like, I could rant about Star Wars fans for hours.
And I'd be right there with you. I'm like, you need to just enjoy things.
Like, they bullied a child.
Things. Yeah. The kid actor that was Anakin.
Yeah, like, how do you bully a child?
Easy. You just don't lead him so much.
It's like, I could go off and on about Star Wars for the goods and the bads of it for about 2 hours, but I'm not going to tonight.
No, we don't. There's not.
We should have an episode where we talk just about Star Wars and Lucasfilms, like the good, the bad, the ugly. the fans. Like, I don't know. I could talk about it for 2 hours.
I'm right there with you. I love Star Wars. Something I grew up with. Something I have very fond memories of, and now I'm old enough to be like, okay, well, that's stupid. That is a stupid opinion you have. Well,
so yeah, my final message: Star Wars fans, quit being toxic.
They're like, okay, we will. They're like, we won't.
All right, okay. You want to do the outro or me?
You go ahead. I did the intro.
Well, thanks to all the fans out there. Forgot to mention this at the beginning of the episode, but guess what number today it is?
Is it 10?
Episode 10.
Oh, double digits.
We're in double digits, baby. Mom and Dad, who would have thought we came this far?
Mama, I made it. I made it.
We made it. But yeah, just thank you to all the fans out there. Like and subscribe. Like the video on YouTube for all our YouTube audience. Subscribe to the channel for all our Spotify listeners. You've been banging it lately. Banging the streams.
Banging that.
Make sure to share this podcast with your friends. Help us grow a little bit. You know how cool it'd be if we hit 1 million, somehow hit big at one point, and you guys could say, we were there from the beginning.
We was there.
Yeah, just share this podcast with your friends. Give us a follow on Spotify. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Well, I gotta get home so I can take goddamn NyQuil. So I'm gonna OD on some Quill.
All right, and have a good night, everyone.